The market of Wexford had always been a place of noise, the clatter of wooden carts, the bray of donkeys, the laughter of children chasing stray chickens, the rhythmic chant of merchants hawking wool, salted pork, and honeycomb. But in the autumn of 1348, the noise changed. It grew quieter, heavier, like the breath before a storm. Elisa of Wexford stood at the heart of it all, her stall, draped in a crimson awning frayed at the edges, but still proud, its poles carved with the sigil of a rising sun. She wore her finest, a green velvet dress, cut in the fashion of the southern courts, its bodice embroidered with silver thread that caught the low autumn light like frost on a spider's web. Her hair, dark as river silt, was pinned beneath a lace coif, and her fingers, long, elegant, always clean, moved with the precision of a nun counting rosaries. She was not born to this life. Her father had been a stable hand, her mother a laundress. But Elisa had learned early that beauty was currency and fear was gold. It began with a whisper. She had been selling saffron, a luxury, a rarity, a spice worth its weight in silver, when a woman from the northern farms, her face gaunt with exhaustion, approached her stall. "They say the sickness is coming," the woman murmured, clutching a cloth bundle of pennies. "From York. From the ports. They say the dead are buried in the fields." Elisa did not answer immediately. She lifted a pinch of saffron between her thumb and forefinger, letting the crimson threads glimmer in the sun. "Ah," she said, soft as silk. "I heard the same from a monk who fled Canterbury. He said the plague doesn't come with coughs or fever. It comes in the grain, in the bread, in the water you draw from the well after the carts from the North Pass." The woman's eyes widened. Elisa leaned closer. "My spices, they're sealed. Blessed by Sister Agnes herself. She anointed them with holy oil. They carry no sickness, only safety." She named her price, triple what it had been 2 weeks prior. The woman paid, without hesitation. The next morning, Elisa's stall was surrounded. A cobbler came for cloves, a widow for dried rosemary, a priest for cinnamon, to purify the chapel, he said. Elisa nodded solemnly, as if she were distributing relics. She told them of a man in Lincoln who had eaten a loaf of bread from a northern baker and died within the hour, his skin black as burnt coal. She told them of a child who drank from a well where a plague carrier had washed his clothes and never woke. She did not lie outright. She let the truth twist. The truth was the plague had not yet reached Wexford. Not yet. But the fear? The fear was already here. And Elisa? Elisa was its most elegant merchant. She hoarded. She rationed. She discovered hidden sacks of pepper behind her shed, sacks she had never sold, never moved, and claimed they had been saved from the cursed carts. She raised her prices again. And again. By the end of the week, a single ounce of saffron cost what a laborer earned in 3 days. She bought herself new shoes, a silver brooch shaped like a lily. She even commissioned a small mirror from a traveling craftsman, polished glass in a gilded frame, so she could see herself, perfect and untouchable, as she dressed each morning. No one questioned her. Not the mayor, who relied on her taxes. Not the clergy, who accepted her donations. Not even the apothecary, a quiet man named Brother Said, who had once been a scholar in Oxford before the Black Death took his wife and left him with only herbs and silence. He watched her. He watched how her ledger never matched her inventory. He watched how the same sacks of pepper, the ones she claimed were lost to plague, were always there, stacked neatly behind her shed, untouched, smelling faintly of cinnamon and lies. He said nothing. Not yet. It was a Tuesday when the truth broke. Brother said arrived at dawn, not with his usual satchel of dried mint and wormwood, but with a parchment sealed in wax, a leather-bound ledger, and the hollow eyes of a man who had seen too much. He stood before Elise's stall, now empty, its awning limp in the wind. The crowd gathered slowly. First, a baker, then a weaver, then the mayor's wife, her face pale as winter frost. Soon, the square was full, not with buyers, but with the bereaved. Brother said spoke without shouting. "Elisa of Wexford," he said, voice low, clear as a bell, "you did not warn us of the plague. You sold it." He opened the ledger. The entries were meticulous. Dates, quantities, prices, and beside each sale a note, asterisk, sack lost to plague, Northwick route. Asterisk, but the inventory log from the town granary showed no such sacks had ever been moved. And the sealed letter, written in the hand of a monk who had died 3 months prior, confirmed, asterisk, there is no plague in Northwick. Only hunger. Only fear. Asterisk, a woman stepped forward, the baker's wife, her fingers still stained with flour. In her arms, she held a small wooden spoon, chipped, worn smooth by a child's lips. "This," she said, her voice trembling like a candle in a draught, "was my son's. He was 6. He asked for bread every morning. I bought it from the northern baker because it was cheaper. Because you told us the others were tainted. He ate it. He slept. He never woke. The priest said it was the plague. But I know now it was hunger. And you made me believe it was worse." A man in a tattered cloak stepped forward. "My daughter died in the fields. She was digging for roots. She said she was hungry because she spent all our silver on your blessed herbs. She thought they would keep her alive." Another voice. Then another. Each one a stone. Each one a crack in the foundation of Elisa's world. The mayor, a man of iron and silence, stepped onto the stone bench that stood before the town hall. He did not raise his voice. He did not need to. "Elisa," he said, "you did not bring death. But you made us believe death was everywhere. And in that belief, we forgot how to live. We starved. We turned on each other. We buried our children with prayers we did not mean because we were too afraid to ask for bread." He paused. The wind carried the scent of wood smoke and damp earth. "Today," he said, "you will be made to feel the weight of what you gave us." The crowd did not cheer. They did not jeer. They simply watched. And in that silence, Elisa knew this was not about justice. This was about memory. And memory in Wexford was never kind. The square fell into a hush broken only by the distant caw of crows and the rustle of wind through dead leaves. The woman in the green velvet dress, once proud, now trembling, stood at the center of the stone platform before the town hall, her silver-threaded sleeves dulled by dust, her lace coif long lost to the crowd's shove. Her dark hair hung loose down her back, tangled and matted. The green fabric of her dress clung to her like a memory of who she had been. 2 burly guards seized her arms and forced her over a low wooden bench stained with old wax and iron. She struggled, not wildly, but with the desperate twitch of an animal sensing the blade, until one pressed a thick leather strap across her back, pinning her shoulders down. Her face turned sideways against the cold stone, eyes closed, lips moving in silent prayer or panic. From the mayor's dais, a signal was given. A guard stepped forward, holding a long, heavy wooden cane, thick as a man's thumb, carved from seasoned ash, its surface worn smooth by past uses. It arced through the air with a sharp whistle. Crack, The first stroke landed across the seat of her green velvet dress, tearing through fabric and flesh alike. A gasp tore from her throat, raw, sudden, human. The silver embroidery along the hem quivered with the force of the blow. Again. Crack, a red line bloomed beneath the torn velvet. She clenched her teeth, fingers clawing at the stone. Crack. Crack. Crack, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Each stroke fell with measured cruelty, not enough to break bone, but enough to brand memory into muscle. 5 strikes. Then 5 more. The air filled with the sound of impact, the scent of split wood, and the quiet, wet sob that escaped her lips on the 10th. Blood seeped through the fabric, dark against emerald, staining the seams where silver thread once shimmered. Her hands were raw from gripping the bench, knuckles scraped and bleeding. Her breath came in ragged bursts, fogging the cold air. No one cheered. No children laughed. Even the dogs stayed silent. Only the echo of the cane lingered, a rhythm of justice, slow and unrelenting. When it was done, the guard tossed the cane aside with a clatter. The mayor rose, his voice cutting through the frost. "Let this be known," he said. "He who trades in fear shall taste pain in truth." The guards hauled her up. She could not stand. Not at first. They held her under the arms, forcing her spine straight so the crowd could see bloodied, broken, but alive. Her green dress hung in tatters. The silver embroidery now frayed and stained with dirt and crimson. For one long moment, she met the eyes of the baker's wife. Then the weaver. Then the apothecary, standing at the edge of the square, his satchel in hand, his face unreadable. She did not speak. She did not collapse. She simply endured, swaying, bleeding, breathing as the weight of her lies settled deeper than any wound. Then, without ceremony, they let her go. She fell to her knees. Not in defiance. Not in pride. But in silence. Night fell. Snow began to fall. Elisa did not go to the abbey. She did not go to the fields. She went to the mayor's door. Her fingers, raw and bleeding, knocked once. Then twice. Then a third time soft, as if afraid to wake the dead. The door cracked open. The mayor stood there, wrapped in a woolen cloak, his face unreadable. Elisa did not rise. She did not beg. She pressed her forehead to the wood. "I am sorry," she whispered, her voice broken, cracked like old parchment. "I thought I was clever. I thought if I made them afraid, they would give me more. I thought if I made them believe in death, they would forget their hunger." She swallowed. Her breath came in shallow gasps. "But I didn't see," she said, tears carving paths through the grime on her cheeks. "I didn't see the empty chairs. I didn't see the silence after the crying stopped. I didn't see that my dress was prettier than their hope." She paused. The snow settled on her shoulders. "I didn't think I was hurting anyone," she said. "I thought I was surviving." She lifted her head, just slightly, and looked into the mayor's eyes. "I am not sorry because was caught." Her voice dropped to a breath. "I am sorry because I made them afraid, and then I left them alone with it." The mayor did not speak. He did not close the door. He did not offer her bread. He did not forgive her. He simply turned. And when he returned, he placed a single candle on the step. Its flame flickered in the snow. And then he went inside. Elisa did not move. She sat there for hours. Until the candle burned low. Until the snow covered her like a shroud. And still, she did not rise. She had been punished. But now she was learning how to be human again. Spring came slowly. The snow melted. The rivers swelled. The birds returned. Wexford rebuilt. The market thrived again. Elisa worked in the Abbey kitchen, peeling potatoes, scrubbing pots, sweeping floors. She wore no color, no embroidery, only gray wool, rough and plain. Her hair was tied back, hidden beneath a simple cap. Her hands were calloused now, not from counting coins, but from washing dishes. She never spoke of the barrel, never spoke of the green dress, never spoke of the saffron. But every morning, without fail, before the sun rose, she walked to the apothecary's door. She left one sprig of dried lavender. No note, no greeting, just the scent, sweet, quiet, enduring. Brother said never said a word, but each night he lit a candle beside it. And one morning, as the frost thinned and the first buds of lavender bloomed in the hills, a new trader arrived in Wexford. A young woman, no more than 20. Her dress was blue, simple, unadorned, but clean. Her hair was braided with wildflowers. She sold lavender, fresh, dried, in sachets, in oils, in teas. She set up her stall near the well. And one morning, as Elisa passed by with a basket of dirty linens, the young woman looked up. She saw the woman in gray. She saw the dried lavender on the apothecary's step. Panned without a word, without hesitation, she plucked a fresh sprig from her own bundle. Bright, alive, fragrant. She placed it beside Elisa's dried one. Elisa did not look up. She did not stop. She did not smile. But as she walked past the well, past the church, past the spot where the barrel had once rolled, she did not flinch. Not once. The wind stirred. The lavender stirred with it. And for the first time since the barrel, Elisa breathed. Not in fear, not in guilt, but in peace. The plague had come and gone, but the true sickness, the one that killed the soul, had been her own. And now, in the quiet, in the scent of lavender, in the candle that still burned each night, she was learning how to live again. Not as a merchant, not as a liar, but as a woman who had lost everything and found, at last, the courage to be silent and still be who?